Friends, do you know that the most feared pirate in history may have never killed a single person outside of battle? Blackbeard, a name that echoes through centuries. But beneath the smoke, fire, and flying cannonballs was a man very different from what the movies told us. Today, we set sail into the dark waters between myth and truth to uncover who Edward Teach really was. Stick with me, because the truth is far more terrifying than fiction. Let's rewind to the early 18th century, the so-called Golden Age of piracy. It's the year 1716 that the Caribbean Sea is a playground of violence and opportunity, patrolled by merchant vessels heavy with sugar, tobacco, and gold. European empires are battling for control. Slavery is booming, and life, for most sailors, is grueling, short, and cruel. Now in this brutal chaos emerges a figure who'll scorch his name into every captain's nightmares: Edward Teach, or Thatch, depending on the source. That we don't know a lot about his early life, but it's believed Teach was born in Bristol, England, sometime around 1680. He may have served as a privateer during Queen Anne's War, which ended in 1713. That war left thousands of gunmen with no more wars to fight. So many of them turned to piracy. The environment was perfect. The navies were stretched thin. The seas were vast. And piracy? It was fast money, if you survived it. Teach joined the infamous pirate Benjamin Hornigold sometime around 1716 near the Bahamas. But it didn't take long till the student became a legend. In 1717, something massive happens. Edward Teach captures a French slave ship named La Concorde. She was large, heavily armed, and sleek. Teach refits her into a warship with 40 guns, a floating fortress. And he gives her a terrifying new name: Queen Anne's Revenge. Now, he isn't just a pirate, he's a symbol: Blackbeard. He grows his beard long and thick, tying it with black ribbons. Before battle, he lights slow-burning fuses under his hat. Smoke seeps around his head like the devil emerging from hell. Witnesses say he looked possessed. His reputation becomes a weapon before his cannons ever fire. And it works. Blackbeard now has a small fleet, a crew of hundreds, and a reputation so fierce that sometimes ships surrender without a fight. But his ambition doesn't stop at treasure. In 1718, he does something that stuns the colonial world. He sets his sights on Charleston, one of the richest port cities in the American colonies. May 1718. Blackbeard shows up at the mouth of Charleston Harbor with 4 ships and hundreds of men. He blocks all sea traffic, every ship sailing in or out. Captured, he holds the whole city hostage. But here's the twist: he doesn't ask for gold or jewels. Blackbeard demands medicine. That's right, medicine. Likely for sick crew or wounded men. After 6 days, Charleston gives in. The pirates get their supplies, and no one is killed. Not one civilian. Does that sound like the murderous villain Hollywood shows us? Now fast forward. June 1718. Blackbeard sails his beloved Queen Anne's Revenge into the shallow waters of Beaufort Inlet, North Carolina, and runs her aground. Deliberately or by accident, we still don't know for sure. He abandons the ship and about 300 men. With a handful of loyal crew, he slips away. Then he accepts a royal pardon from Governor Charles Eden. Yes, Blackbeard, this specter of doom, asks for forgiveness. And he gets it. He even settles down for a brief time in Bath, North Carolina, marrying a local girl. But pirates rarely retire peacefully. Rumors circulate that Blackbeard continues smuggling and raiding in secret. The governor of Virginia, Alexander Spotswood, decides he's had enough to S.O. without permission from North Carolina. He sends Lieutenant Robert Maynard and 2 Royal Navy sloops to hunt Blackbeard down. November 21st, 1718, Maynard sails into Ocracoke Inlet, where Blackbeard is anchored with only 1 ship and a skeleton crew, before dawn. November 22, Maynard attacks. Blackbeard's ship, the Adventure, opens fire. Maynard lures him in, pretending to have lost many men. It's a trap. As Blackbeard boards, Maynard's hidden sailors ambush from below deck. The fight is brutal. Eyewitnesses say Blackbeard took 5 gunshots and over 20 sword cuts before falling. His head is cut off and hung from Maynard's ship. As proof, just like that, the legend falls. Let's pause, because beyond the cannon fire and black sails, there's something tragic here. Blackbeard wasn't just a monster. He was calculated, strategic, maybe even misunderstood. Despite his savage image, no records show him killing civilians. Many witnesses said he avoided unnecessary bloodshed. His crew often included freedmen and formerly enslaved people, which was rare on legitimate naval vessels. And yet, men like Lieutenant Maynard, who became a hero for killing Blackbeard, left behind stories filled with arrogance and political ambition. Consider this: a man who terrorized the seas for only 2 years has been remembered for 3 centuries. Why? Because Blackbeard knew how to control his image. With smoke, drama, feared. He played the villain so well that even today's Hollywood can't let him go. But was Edward Teach just putting on a mask? Or was there something deeper, some pain, some trauma from his early life or the war that turned him into Blackbeard? We'll never know. After Blackbeard's death, piracy in the American colonies didn't disappear overnight, but the tide had turned. At Spotswood's secret mission had made it clear colonial governments would no longer tolerate pirate lords. By 1726, the golden age of piracy was over. As for Blackbeard's legacy, stories of buried treasure spread, myths of curses, rumors that his ghost still haunts Ocracoke Island. Centuries later, in 1996, the wreck of the Queen Anne's Revenge is discovered off the coast of North Carolina. Artifacts recovered from the seafloor gave new insight into pirate life. Tools, weapons, even surgical equipment, no treasure, but history. And that's perhaps the greatest irony. The man who built his empire on illusion has lived longer in legend than any king or admiral who chased him. So, what do we really know about Blackbeard? He wasn't the bloodthirsty lunatic some tales claim. That he wasn't the romantic antihero Hollywood loves either. He was something else, something more human. A man who used fear when it served him, who made bold moves during a chaotic time, who, despite the storm, tried, for a short while, to come ashore and live quietly. But in the end, the world wouldn't let him fade peacefully. Maybe that's the ultimate lesson. Legends aren't born. They're made, carefully, purposefully, and sometimes regretfully. And when you look beyond the myth, the fire, the beard, the black sails, you find a man fighting not just the sea, but a system of power that had abandoned thousands like him. If Blackbeard was a monster, he was one the world helped create. The next time you hear his name, remember how much of that fear was smoke. Thank you for joining us on this voyage. If you enjoyed unraveling history's greatest myths with us, subscribe.